way you were going to be able to futz with health care in today's society. And so we just automatically took that off the table. So it's not part of our plan at all. There are no new business-to-business taxes. So what we're talking about is the end-user tax on services. This does away with the BPOL tax, the gross receipts tax, the machine and tool tax, and this merchant's capital tax, and it makes the counties and cities whole to the penny. Secretary of Finance testified at the last meeting of the two commissions that there are 2 or 3 different ways you can make the counties whole, and it can be done under the various scenarios that we have outlined. And this is revenue neutral on day one. This is not a tax increase. What we did is we went to 5 groups before we started this to make sure they would be on board with the concept. We went to the Tax Foundation downtown. It's been around since the 1930s. And they said, anytime you can broaden and or lower the taxes, it's best for the economy. It's best for economic growth. We went to Americans for Tax Reform, Grover Norquist, and he said as long as it's revenue neutral, it abides by his tax pledge, and he'd be on board. We went to a group of gas stations up here in Northern Virginia who froth at the mouth over BPOL, and they are totally on board. Then we went to the Virginia Association of Counties and the Virginia Municipal League, who have the Virginia Association of Counties has testified at the Bowling Jobs Commission early in this administration that the BPOL tax is a job-destroying tax, but nobody figured out how to make them whole. And if they aren't made whole, they can't support it because some of these counties would have a pretty significant piece of their budget that would be taken from them. Fairfax County is probably 2% of our budget in Fairfax County. It's fully 20% of the budget in Farmville. So you can see why you can't just take it and take a hike and say, good luck. And what we found in the work that we did is there's enough money on the table if you broaden the sales tax to services minus health care to have a significant whack on personal income taxes and other taxes in the state. And the job creation is pretty dramatic. So what I'm doing tomorrow is of the 14 scenarios that we have in our study, the commission's asked me to outline what I thought were the 6 best scenarios that they could take a look at toward crafting legislation. We have run various scenarios. We can run all sorts of scenarios through this tax model. There are 94 industries that do not collect taxes from the services that they charge you and me. Everything from air freight to your cleaners. But again, the increase in taxes on services comes back to you in spades in what you can get out of this from the personal income tax cut. So what we've done is we've gone through the scenarios, and I picked out on my own the ones that from a job creation point of view are the best. And these are the various things you can do by broadening the sales tax the way we're recommending. You can eliminate one scenario, you can eliminate the bottom 2 tax brackets in this state. We have 4 tax brackets. You can cut the top tax bracket from 5.75% to 5%, and the next tax bracket from 5% to 4.55%. Which means everybody gets a personal income tax cut. That creates, according to this model, 79,000 jobs. And by the way, people who did this model, we have used it 2 or 3 times in the past and have had praise from both sides of the aisle for the economists and the model that we put together, which is why we went back to these folks to put this model together. In another scenario, you can eliminate the state's portion of the food tax. There's a 2.5% remaining food tax. It went from the typical sales tax a few years ago. It cut it down to 2.5%. 1.5% goes to the state, percent stays at the county level. You can, in another scenario, you can eliminate the state's portion of that sales tax on food, which is 1.5% reduction. You can eliminate the bottom 2 tax brackets. You can cut the rest of the taxes, the last 2 tax brackets, the ones that we're in, by 4.5%. That creates almost the same number of jobs, 78,400 jobs. Another way of doing this would be to eliminate the entire tax on food. You can then eliminate the bottom 2 tax brackets, and you can cut the remaining 2 tax brackets by 3%. Create 68,000 new jobs. Or you can put back on the table and not tax the private colleges and schools in the Commonwealth, not tax daycare services, and cut everybody's taxes by 13%. You create almost 60,000 new jobs. Or you can not tax the real estate industry, and you can make an economic case that the selling of homes is a leading indicator going into recessions and coming out of recessions, so maybe they ought not be taxed. You can make that argument. Not saying you should, not saying you shouldn't, just saying there's a good economic argument to be made, and one that has come up in these commission hearings. So you can leave the real estate transactions and all associated with buying homes off the table. Don't tax it. You can eliminate the bottom 2 tax brackets. There's a little bit of money left over, so we all get a 1% tax cut. That creates 52,000 jobs. That's over 5 years, by the way. The job creation is over a 5-year period. Or the final scenario, which may be the easiest to sell, depending on your perspective, is that you can broaden the sales tax to services, make the counties and cities whole, which is one of the non-variables in this whole thing, and give all of us a 17% cut in our income taxes. That's how much money is sitting there if we just rearrange the tax code on a revenue-neutral basis, and the kinds of jobs that can be created if we tax the right things and don't tax the wrong things. As I said, this has gained legs in this state. We have put together a coalition of over 40 various associations who are interested in this idea, who are at the table talking, everything from the counties and cities to the accountants to the realtors, etc., who want to see how this might work. Clearly, a rising tide lifts all ships, and if you have 60,000, 70,000 more employees in the state, everybody is helped. From a political point of view, we rarely talk to the people in Petersburg, the people who are poorer than we are. Being able to either do away with the food tax or whack the bottom 2 tax brackets, give us a story to tell at the AME Church. We don't have a story to tell the AME Church except for education reform kinds of issues. And when you take a look at the kinds of jobs that can be created by doing this, it really is pretty exciting. We all get emails, 2 or 3 a week, talking about the 17 jobs that were created in Bath County, the 127 new jobs that are coming to Virginia Beach, wherever. This is a tax policy that can create tens of thousands of jobs over the next 5 years. And it is one that can be done on a revenue-neutral basis, no new business-to-business taxes, and everybody, depending on the scenario they take, all of us can benefit from it. We're excited about the interest this has gained in the state from the state legislature, from the governor's office, from both candidates running for governor, and we're hoping that we're going to be able to see something done over the next couple of years that could be pretty dramatic in changing the tax code in a way that creates jobs and investment and disposable income in pretty significant ways, as you can see from these charts. It's kind of fun to be able to have a dynamic tax model that you can put various scenarios in and see what comes out at the other side. And even those people who don't believe in supply side economics to the extent that these figures show, cut those figures in half, and it's a lot of jobs, a lot of investment, a lot of cash that we'll have in our pockets by just merely rearranging what you tax. And what we have found exciting is you read the textbooks and you read the editorials about the way tax policy can affect the economy, but when you have a model in front of you and you can put the numbers in and you see the kinds of results that can happen. It's pretty exciting stuff. We have Democrats and Republicans excited about some of this. If you can take a whack at the food tax, that affects everybody in the state. Mostly the poor who spend a larger percentage of their money on food. If you can take a whack at the bottom two tax brackets, it's huge. It's huge in the kinds of jobs that can be created. You can see from the charts that although a lot of jobs are created by giving all of us a 17% tax cut, more jobs are created by taking a whack at the bottom two tax brackets. It's really fascinating stuff. So that's what we're promoting. That's what we're doing with the state legislature.